Fuck me. Okay, so for some reason OBS broke earlier and I had to mute the webcams because the webcams were coming through on the going live screen. So if you go at the beginning of the VOD, the going live screen has us talking, shooting the shit. So I just had to unmute them. Hello, everyone. Abe's not here. He's stressed. Forebear's not here. He had prior commitments. And hello to Amanda once again. She's joining us for the podcast.
Hello.
We also have the muted Soulblazerz. I'm going to you because you're muted. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm typing a bit. That's why I didn't want to do it. Yo, how's it going?
I wish Nick would do that muting when he types because you just hear.
Yeah.
You do it too, Jesse. I hear it when I'm on here.
I mute it all the time.
For longtime viewers, the return to chapter titles shouldn't be something new. Our first, I think, like 20 episodes or something. We didn't go like, hey, we're talking about this. We just picked a chapter title because Halo's always had really cool, fun ones, and then we went with it if it marginally was related to it.
Yeah, it was trying to figure out what's going to get the most people to watch.
Exactly.
And it's just like, yeah, we'll just go with something that's good. The main show just goes with whatever, so we'll go with something we like. And of course, last but not least, better than Jesus himself, Knottian. How are you?
Hey, everybody. Good to have a little bit of a break from the insanity the past 2 weeks. So, looking forward.
I'm going to do my best to both produce and host. So apologies if it's not the best looking podcast we've had lately. But I want to get into what you guys have been playing lately. I'm not going to go to Amanda because I know she hasn't been playing anything. So first, I'm going to go to Dan. What have you been up to lately?
Well, it was the beginning of a new quarter, so I didn't get to play too much lately, just because we've been hammering away. But Catherine and I were playing a bunch of Fall Guys the past week. That's a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And after our yours, mine, and Aarsal's Gears session the other night, I started playing Gears Tactics again. Fantastic game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I never beat it. So
yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I never beat it, but I'm making my way through now, and God, it's such a good game. I'm a sucker for XCOM style games, so it's been a blast.
Yeah, I got really close to the end too. I think I've only got a few missions left. It's been one of those things I just hop into every once in a while.
Yeah, it's a great pick up and play.
Yep. Aarsal, what have you been up to?
I have been playing a fair bit this week. Fall Guys, I just did a match earlier today. It's still very like, I can't see myself playing it solo because the load times were so long, even in between rounds.
It's
like,
terrible. Yeah.
I made it to top 3 and I was 1.5 seconds away from winning. Like, I just did one wrong jump and then the other two like immediately fell off. But it's a game I'll play with friends. It's not a game I can see myself playing solo.
Yep.
Other than that, I have been playing Halo a bit. I got into it. I streamed on Tuesday, which hopefully will be an every Tuesday thing. Hopefully with more than just me. That should be the exception. We'll hopefully try and get as many of the the Halo people team on. And yeah, I mean, Halo is still fun.
Shocking.
Yeah, right?
For a dead game.
It's a dead gang.
I personally have been up to stuff that you can watch on our Twitch channel. It's just been a lot of... I'll pop it up. Boom. I did a Cuphead today. I did the entire DLC. Super fun. Really enjoyed it. I streamed myself beating it, writing the review, narrating the review, and editing the review for about 3 hours.
I need to watch you writing it because that's the part that I'm the weakest at, I feel. It's just the writing process.
Yeah, so much. I'm still not a very good writer. It's just being comfortable with it and sort of knowing my lane of... It's a mix, like, and people on the freaking comments are hilarious. This isn't an objective review. It's like there's never been an objective review. That doesn't work. A review is your
by definition,
experience.
It's subjective.
Yeah. So I try to get how the game made me feel across while mixing in like objective fact. Yeah. So yeah, this one was great. It's not very long. I didn't have that many problems with it, especially playing as Miss Chalice. She's quite strong, and like her dodge and everything is pretty damn great.
Yeah.
So, if you play that, and that game is funnily enough, it's easier solo. I'll always say that, and it's still only couch co-op, so no online co-op. And I imagine just the the thought of the net code on that, which is something that'll come up in a little bit in the news. Probably a real pain in the butt.
I mean,
The-
netcode it's a small team. That's like a really specialized thing you have to be good at.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, the other thing I was up to was Outriders World Slayer. Forgot to maximize that.
Nice.
It's longer, which is good because unlike being $8 like Cuphead is, it is 40. But there's quite a lot to it. I think it's worth it. I really enjoyed it. I give Cuphead a 9.5. I gave this an 8.
Cuphead is only $8.
Yeah, well, the base game's only 20. So if you're adding
For
like,
DLC, right?
yeah, it's the biggest island, but it's still not a ton of content. I was like 4 real bosses and then a series of specialized challenges where I think you can only parry.
Like how? What was
that's
the?
fun.
Did you one shot a boss at all or no? What was at least one
don't-
attempt you took for a boss?
If Mort or Somnia are here, they might remember if I did. I think it was like 2 to 4 attempts for most.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It was
That
never
feels
too bad.
that feels like probably an outlying experience because I know I've played the game probably for a few hours and I'm still only like the beginning of the second island because it's just the bosses are tough.
Yeah, the moment you get the first mausoleum done, that's when you can go to the DLC. So that's it's and they give you the ability. They give you a boatman, and you can go back and forth between islands finally, which is great. Only what 7 years or something after launch, but or
I can't even play Cuphead. I literally can't see it. My eyes cannot focus on it.
yeah, we were watching someone play it earlier, and she was just staring at the TV like, I don't understand what's going on.
I can't even see what's going on.
Funnily enough, Outriders might not be that much different. Mort was watching me play, and some of these fights, there's like 40 enemies. It's crazy how over the top they go in this expansion for it. Because like the original Outriders, it was a mix of cover and out in the open, and most of this expansion was just out in the open, fighting like a maniac. Still really fun to do all the builds. It looks nice. It ran really well. They've had their year of patching it. So I thought that one was pretty good. We've got a lot of content up on the YouTube page lately.
And you played something else, right? Last night? At least a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Again, I completely forgot about it, but it's right here. So I was just hanging out and looked on the Xbox app. It's a House Flipper showing for Game Pass. House Flipper is a very fun game. It's the complete opposite of Cuphead and Outriders. It's just relaxing. Like it's just the art of Zen of cleaning and doing that. But if you like making houses in The Sims, which is why I think you would actually like this one a bit, Amanda, if you ever got into it. If you just like the art of, well, first you clean them up. If you want, like to start the game, you get to clean. But then eventually you get enough money, you can go in and you can just start completely building houses and painting them and setting them out and knocking walls down, building new ones. Like you can build your goddamn dream house and then flip it.
And if you want to like lose hours and like without realizing, I downloaded the game last night because you're like, oh, I played it for 75 hours. Like 75 hours. I'm okay, let me give it a shot. I downloaded it at like 1 a.m. By the time I checked, it was like 3, and I'm like, what the hell just happened?
It's one of the best podcast games I've ever played, and it just came out of Game Pass from nowhere.
Yeah.
I didn't set a thing.
Yeah.
Any of you guys ever play it before this, or?
No.
Nope.
No.
It is Game Pass for console and PC, and it is Play Anywhere, so you can hop between them real easy too, which is the best.
That's right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's always one of my favorite things with Game Pass when they just out of nowhere something good hits the service. So, but that's what we've been playing. And there was a really big thing we should probably get into first,
Yeah.
and that is the fact.
Has Amanda played anything? Did we cover you?
No. No. I'm boring. I was watching movies and shows with my mom. I don't really play a lot of games. I'm usually very picky about what I play. I want to try Fall Guys because it's like the kind of game where you watch people play it and you think like you can do so much better.
Yeah. Well,
Like you feel like you would win every round.
Oh man.
Sorry. Yeah, the big news of the day that we'll get into first was the fact that we got a big old blog post out of nowhere
Yep.
from 343.
I had a feeling too, man. I was like,
Woo!
it's kind of light day. We're going to talk about some various stuff unless 343 decides to drop another giant blog post.
Yeah, and this is a pretty big one. I'm just going to go through this pretty quick.
Yeah, I've written down some point form of
Yeah, you want to hit them?
part. Yeah, yeah. Let me start reading it, and then let's talk about the individual parts as I go through it. So right away, and also I'm pretty sure this is a change, but campaign network co-op for Halo Infinite's on its way. You'll be able to take the fight to the Banish with your friends and family in the upcoming flight, which is targeted to run from the week of July 11th. They said July 15th, right? When I first read it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that okay. I'm just making sure.
That's why our news post says July 15th, the
15th,
week
yeah.
of July 15th, because
Yeah,
that's
and
what they said.
July 15th
Which
is
is weird, 'cause-
Friday.
Yeah, so whatever.
Anyways, so I'm skipping all the talk and just diving into what the important parts is. I'm still gonna be reading off what they said though. So it's saying, so in terms of how the co-op works, in terms of like how the saves work and whatnot, it's the phrase here is I could be playing solo campaign, jump into a co-op session for a few hours, then launch back into solo play, and all the mission progress, acquired collectibles, equipment found, achievements earned, upgrades, blah blah blah, would be intact. How they do this is something called the No Spartan Left Behind system, which is basically the lowest common denominator. The game aggregates the states of all missions across these saves and sets up a world state in which any missions completed by all Fire team members are completed, and if even one's not completed by someone, that one shows up as incomplete. It's a really cool way of doing it, and I know not every game does this. Even like Borderlands, I think it goes by host or something.
Yeah, they're almost always just the host. Like
Yep.
Borderlands and
Yeah.
Far Cry,
Redfall.
everything's just host.
Yeah, this is really cool because it's one of my biggest complaints was whenever like my friends would play without me for like a session or two, I'd be like, okay, I'm behind like a zone or I'm behind like 20
Yep.
missions. I can't join you anymore. When at the end of the day, all we really want to do is just play together, right? So it
Yep.
doesn't matter if you replay a couple missions, especially in Halo where they're so quick. So this way, no matter what you do, no one is completing missions out of order, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So it's like when a group of people all start a game together, it like creates your own instance, and then it's always
A temporary
like a
instance.
little pocket universe.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Anyway.
whenever you create, like, let's say you leave that save file isn't a co-op only save file. You can jump back in on your own again anytime you want.
Any
And then-
progress you've made is earned across the board.
Exactly. And then if you want to play co-op again later, it'll just everyone's joining in and it checks the save slots of everyone. It'll go to the lowest common, not the lowest, but it'll go to the one who's completed the least and say, hey, these missions are incomplete.
Mhm.
These are the ones you need to do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's nice. Like if you get a save, you've done everything, it's 100%, you're super powerful. You can still
Yeah.
just use that one. It's not going to screw anyone else in your
Yep.
you got all
Yeah,
your
that-
upgrades.
And no
That's
one's
actually really
missing content. They're not playing missions out of order or anything like that. So, yeah, it's really nice.
Crossplay is, of course, fully supported, other than the graphical limitations. I get it. It makes sense that it had to. I still would have liked them to eventually drop the Xbox One soon, hopefully. Maybe next year.
I think, yeah, we're not going to see that till at the very least the next time there's a big content drop,
Yeah.
whether that's
Yeah.
a new PvE mode or campaign
Mhm.
content, whatever it may be. Yeah, I would not expect that anytime soon because that's probably going to be in tow with an engine build of some sort.
Yeah. This next part's interesting. Obviously, any combination of PC's Xbox up to 4 players is supported, including cloud gaming, which is awesome. But all co-op games are hosted on dedicated servers.
Yep.
I feel like that's not always the norm for Halo, at least from my experience.
I
That's
think
not always-
5 might have been.
Right. I think 5 was, but like ODST and the rest were peer to peer.
Yeah.
And
Is
most
MCC
games
still
are.
peer to peer? Because that was real bad at launch.
I think
Certain
some games
modes
might be.
are still peer to peer.
I remember playing Halo 4, and then you get like the weird like host, so whatever error. But it could just be they're using that graphic in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's still a couple modes that are like if I remember right when they came out with Flood Fight, they detailed some of the modes that
Yeah.
are still peer to peer in there,
Okay.
but the majority is dedicated servers.
That makes sense. Okay. And obviously something people are still losing their minds over, which I don't know how, because we all saw the roadmap. We all saw the picture of the 3 chiefs.
Mhm.
In Halo Infinite, everyone is chief when playing campaign co-op.
Yep.
That is not that is not a surprise. You know what I mean?
No.
Yes, the multiplayer Spartans will almost definitely at one point find themselves on Zeta Halo, I want to say. And I've already seen a few mods out there where like you change Chief's armor. Have you guys seen those?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
really interesting. The cutscenes look surprisingly good, even with the other
well,
armor
it's
set.
the benefit of having in game, real time
Yeah.
cutscenes. It's just using assets, so it's easy to
So
do.
whenever you have a cut scene, there's gonna be 2 or 3 chiefs hanging
No.
around.
I think
This
the
is Halo 4.
cutscenes are still primarily the one chief. it's going to be like if you've played Destiny multiplayer, it's the same thing where it's the same cinematic. And like if I'm playing with Catherine, we don't see two guardians. She sees her guardian, and I see my guardian. Which obviously they're just chiefs, so it's identical. So they won't need
probably different weapons, which would be cool. Right?
Yeah. Basically, whatever you've got in there, right before.
I don't think we'll have the Halo 4 thing where someone's pulling a switch and like you just see like 4 chiefs jumping on him.
Yeah.
I always like having the mangler in cutscenes because it just looks so goddamn menacing.
Yeah.
For me, it's the laser. It's just it looks so tiny in your hands when you use it, and then it goes to the cutscene. It's this giant thing he's holding and like lugging around. And then comes the next major point of contention with the co-op update, which is the whole point of playing together is just that, playing together. We've established what is called area of operations. This is the maximum distance that players in a fire team can stray from one another as they explore and tackle the challenges of Zeta Halo. If you stray too far from your fire team, you'll get a warning to return to the team. If you ignore that warning and keep going, you'll get killed for going OWAL and spawn next to your teammate.
I'm sorry, what? OWAL?
OWAL.
AWOL. Dang it.
OWAL.
There's my DVA moment.
Absent without leave. That's what it stands for. Anyway,
okay,
continue.
So we landed on turning the AU with two the area of operations with two values, an inner warning 800 feet and an outer kill radius of 1,000 feet. And to give you an idea what that is in-game scale, if you want to take a really big objective like the dig site, which I think the mission's called excavation site, the AOO will definitely allow you to tackle the objective from opposite sides with still room to spare. So I wasn't entirely sure how big this was when I opened up a map of Halo through IGN's map, and it's pretty big. If you guys remember the mission with the dig site and the little things that come up, you got to shoot them. That's a big area.
The shield generators.
The things that just pop out of the ground. You gotta shoot those.
1,000 feet should be fine. It is weird. It's not a big open world game. It's not the type of thing where there's just a ton of objectives to go do, and you might want to go do different things to sort of maximize your time. And it's a Halo game. It's all about playing together. So
exactly.
I'm sure people will complain.
And this isn't the first time this has happened. Like that's the thing that gets me about all this uproar. It's like people act like, oh, it's 343. No, dumbass. Bungie did the same thing in the older Halos. And this is far more complex of a game than any of Bungie's Halos, and so it makes absolute sense. If you want the performance to stay the same, if you want your shots to sync, if you want all the elements that go into this kind of game to work properly, you need to have a limitation. It just makes sense, and it's not like you're tethered to the hip. I mean, it's not like playing Diablo on a split screen where you're literally 15 feet from each other.
Or it's that Mario Wii game where you always have to be right there.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes, of course.
So it's just such a non-issue to be complaining about. But
I know. It's like, why does everybody want everything to be perfect all the time? Everything that they want all the time. Or else there's a problem.
Entitlement.
Not just perfect.
The concept of what you get to do with co-op is so much more than you get to do with any other game, but there's always something to complain about.
Yeah.
Not just perfect. It's like
my way.
Play together.
That's
my idea of perfect.
Yeah. Like it's Halo, man. Like, why are you? This isn't Borderlands. This isn't a Far Cry or Ubisoft game with a million markers. It's not GTA with a million markers on the map and a bunch of random crap to do. I use this example all the time today when typing. I use it again right now. I play Borderlands a fair bit with friends, and we would split up when we were trying to clear the random missions, the random quests on the board. It wasn't fun. You just wanted to clear the missions because there's a million of them.
It's disparate. It's disparate experiences.
Yeah. So it's like Halo, which is clearly objective based, and there's really aren't that many objectives. There's like a few forts out there, obviously the marine stuff and whatnot. Like, you're meant to play together. I don't understand why you'd play a game like this. I mean, okay, guys, let's split up and just play our own. At that point, just why don't you guys play your own instances and just talk and party chat?
Right.
It just feels like a weird complaint to me.
There was there's another part to this blog post I'm sure we're going to get to at some point, but it was also and really nice to see. It's also flighting mission replay.
Yes. Yeah, we're definitely getting to that. Yeah.
Okay, go.
One last thing, actually, and I actually didn't read this earlier, or I didn't really focus on it because it didn't really matter to me because I already beat it. But this is actually kind of relevant. Is you can spend your cores individually, right? Armor cores that you pick up, your upgrades, and because of that, you can do some things like, hey, if you want to level up your drop wall first, which is pretty useful if you're playing like legendary, and you can get like the electric bullets and the giant drop wall. One player can focus on that. Someone wants to get the electrical,
grapple shot.
Someone wants to not level up their shield because they're staying in the back and being more support. Things like that. You know what I mean? It's there's actually like a little bit of emergent gameplay there, which I didn't really think about. And will definitely come into play when you actually play it. And finally, mission replay is on its way. In both solo and co-op play, you can open your attack map, highlight a completed mission, and then choose replay. You'll be prompted to select the difficulty and offered to activate any skulls you or your teammates have collected. Setting a mission to replay resets it and teleports you and your fire team to the location to tackle the mission, but you're free to wander off to do something else, fast travel away, resume your furthest main mission. It doesn't matter. You're not tied to that mission. You can open up the attack map and just do what you want to do, which is pretty cool. And one last thing I wanted to touch on was, let's say I wanted to replay the first mission after I've collected a bunch of crap. Will those upgrades carry over when I replay it? And the answer is yes. Any upgrades you have will carry over when you replay the mission.
Ends up kind of being like a new game plus. Like if you were doing everything on normal and now you powered up and you're like, I want to hit it heroic, or if you were hitting heroic and you're like, I want to go crazy and try some legendary. It's like, it's nice.
Well, and it's nice too because the opening mission was one of my favorites, and in order to get to play it again, you always had to just use a new save slot, right? Start a new game. This kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility than having to jump save slots and remember where you were for each one.
And it'll definitely make LASSO a fair bit easier, I want to say. Get a fully upgraded file, then start replaying the missions, right? Assuming they count the achievement like that, which they probably should. I mean,
if it's pretty much just finish every mission, then I don't think they'll care exactly how, the order you do it in.
And I'm curious how 343 are watching this, because they designed these missions to be played with the equipment you have when you play them, right? So the first mission, it's designed to be played with just the grapple. That's it. So I'm curious how much, if any, the gameplay changes with the thruster and the flipping invisibility and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. They've definitely thought a lot about this, so I wonder how much they've been testing it, because it's definitely it's a lot. It's a lot to implement the way they've done it. I think showcases that they have put a lot of thought into it. So.
And what's funny is this is after remember that Reddit post where it's like, oh, they're having trouble with the co-op, it's not working well, blah, blah, blah. And everyone took it as gospel. And hey, maybe it was true, but does it matter at the end of the day?
To be fair, this is this is the standard. If it's negative Xbox, especially if it's negative 343, it's gospel. It's taken as truth every damn time, no matter how many examples we have of developers contradicting that, or how many examples of the game coming out and proving exactly the opposite. The moment you take any leak, was it the subreddits gaming leaks and rumors?
Yep.
The moment you take any of that serious, you can go through that and look at this last year alone, and 90% of it is bullshit.
Yep.
So
the other 10% Nick. I'm sorry.
Probably. Seriously, the only accurate things on there that I've seen have been some of Nick's stuff. And so if you're taking the information out of that subreddit still, you should probably go get some help, because it's just.
But people can be negative to 343, Dan. They're the studio that gets the biggest
They're
pass.
the most, They get the most
I can't try the accent.
leeway than anybody, than any other developer on the planet. It's ridiculous.
All right, so those are all the main points for it, right?
Yeah. One last thing technically is that they're adding new achievements to co-op. I feel like they'll probably add part-time again, because that's a Halo staple. And with mission replay, I feel like they have the option to do that. But also specific things like we challenge you to kill enemies with the gravity hammer from the back of a vehicle while it's being driven by a friend. Things like that, like fun things.
The important things.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you use gravity hammers when you're on vehicles? That's what we all want to know.
Yeah, and
I guess you can use a sword too.
Sword, I'm not. Oh yeah, I guess you could. Huh.
Jousting. Halo jousting.
Yes, jousting.
They haven't mentioned it.
What if you could joust each other?
Exactly. I really hope they keep friendly fire on. That's a kind of a co-op staple.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Let's see.
It's pretty annoying. I hate friendly fire.
Oh, so do I. But everyone's had that moment when they're playing Halo co-op where you just start like this kill fest with each other. Like one person accidentally kills someone. It's like, oh, what did you do? It's just
That just makes me think that when Forge is released, Aarsal, we need to make a jousting.
oh man.
Playlist where it's two teams, one on mongoose with a sword, both on mongoose with a sword, and you're just going at each other.
That's
and
super
Yeah,
cool,
community
actually.
game night. Everybody just waits their turn to joust.
We should do that. That actually sounds fun.
Exactly, Britt.
I can't imagine what the options are going to be with what we've seen leaked so far with Forge.
But that's all for the co-op news. It was a pretty big blog post. End of the day, what I took from it was that they're not taking co-op
lightly.
Exactly. They're putting the work into it.
Yeah, they got to make it worth the wait.
Well, and it's clear, with the continued flighting that they've been doing, even prior to the game's release. I remember when MCC launched, and obviously everybody does, and had the issues that it did. And one of the things Bonnie Ross said was that they'll never have another Halo game that doesn't have, extensive flighting. Yeah. And so, obviously, we're seeing that here. We're seeing that both with, we saw that with the co-op functionality, and we're seeing that with the mission replay. So, people want to bitch about delays and timing and things like that. But if you want things to work well, and if you want things to be, if you want developers to be transparent, this is how it's done. So that's all I've got to say on that.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or does it feel like they're more transparent than a lot of companies out
Oh,
there?
absolutely.
And then they get
They
so
are.
much more shit for it.
Absolutely. There's Tyler Owens is a great developer over at he's working on Apex now, but he's worked on Halo and a bunch of other stuff. And he went on a rant the other day about it, and it was everything that I've been saying for years. Basically, it's like, they're one of the most transparent devs out there, but also gamers have this paradoxical entitlement with wanting transparency and then bitching when it's not what they want to hear, and then going on and being toxic to said developers for absolutely no reason. So yeah, Amanda, they're definitely one of the most transparent out there.
Speaking of
They
toxic,
still keep on trucking.
yeah.
Let's keep on
Speaking
doing
of toxic to 343, I guess that's a bit of the next topic, right?
Segue.
No, okay. Segue.
Which was just what was it? Oh yeah, we got
This little blog post they put out? Or which one are you going for?
No, I was just saying, just the information that Unshay gave, which was that right now their networking team is focused on co-op
Yes.
rather than DSync, which makes sense.
And not entirely not focused on it, just they're not able to give their full backing. Because this is obviously something very big that people have highly requested, so they can't just, they got to get it right. They know that.
Exactly. And I mean, if desync's affecting multiplayer online against each other, well, this is also on dedicated servers with cooperative people. If it's that big of a deal, it's probably in play here. So whatever fixes they're doing here should have pretty large knock-on effects, like they literally said earlier, for multiplayer as well. Minus like meleeing, they said, because you're not at least not going to melee trade you, obviously, in the campaign.
And sadly not, Mort, we don't.
What? Sorry?
What did
No,
Mort
I'm
say?
not going to say it out loud. So, next topic, I'll bounce off of Halo for something else. It is Xbox related in the future, as Blizzard has purchased Proletariat Inc.
Yep.
They are the makers of Spellbreak, which I played a fair amount of after watching Shroud play it a while ago on PC. It's fun.
It's the BR, right?
It is a spellcasting focused BR that they're now just not going to support anymore because they're being brought by Blizzard to support World of Warcraft. And a lot of people are like, well, if they're being brought on to WoW, this might be the best PvP WoW has ever had. And it will be essentially another dev team that will become part of first-party Microsoft in the future. So, nothing huge on that. Just figured we get some quick hitter news stories.
Not gonna lie, it was funny seeing people go, "Oh my god, another studio bought for this for WoW." And as someone that is probably gonna play Dragonflight, I'm like, okay, nice. like more developers on this game than I'm probably gonna play. I don't mind. I'm not playing Spellbreak, so hey,
Yeah,
not a bad pick
Spellbreak
for
was
me.
fun. Spellbreak was actually constantly given every season was given away as a Game Pass Ultimate perk,
Really?
which was yeah.
That's crazy.
Huh?
Never even played it.
So what are they going to be doing on World of Warcraft?
They're working on Dragonflight.
Yeah, working on the next expansion with them.
Oh.
Not sure exactly what, just like more devs to help get that out on time, essentially. But bought whole cloth by Blizzard and shutting down Spellbreak after a few years of running it.
There's definitely some things we can take from it, and I think the biggest thing is that Blizzard is still putting in, and Activision, I guess, a lot of money into WoW. I know a lot of people say it's a dead game. Well, no, it's still one of the most popular MMOs in the world, if not the most. You know what I mean?
If you type in our private chat, it pops up in front of people's cameras. I never knew that before.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
Video game did get hacked. He messaged about it. I actually got one from him.
Nice.
Click here. I can't believe you said that about a woman.
Yeah.
Click here for name and shame.
Come on, dude.
No, I'm not gonna.
I didn't get no message.
So, Mort, is this Xbox acquiring support devs?
Oh, I just got it.
Kind of in a roundabout
Pretty
way,
much.
even though it's
They're acquiring the plebs.
Well, a lot of their support studios have been getting bought up by other companies. So
yeah.
You know, Jesse, you think? I mean, assuming Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard in time, I feel like we should probably like review World of Warcraft, right? I'm just saying it's a first party. It's a first party game.
As long as you're not doing it.
As
Fair
someone
enough.
with over 10,000 hours in World of Warcraft, I don't want to do it because I don't want to ever get addicted again.
Jesse and I met on World of Warcraft.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty. You can ask Travis. It was pretty much all I played for like a decade. I barely touched consoles or anything,
You were really just a bachelor neckbeard fedora
and I was
guy.
very good. I was very
Not
good.
really.
At it.
No, you weren't. But you
I was
did.
nice.
I mean, you guys were part of like a
Hibernate.
top server and a top guild in the server. That's pretty good. That's like
Mid-eight.
I
top,
was. Yeah,
2%.
after like we met, we were learning how to do everything essentially in the one we were in together. And then I left and ended up in a pretty good one.
Yeah. At one
okay.
point, yeah, like the one that Jesse ended up running was the top one in the server. We were probably like in the top 5. Our little guild. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I was in an end game guild for like 4 months. It was miserable. Holy crap! I hated it so bad. I went back to
A
my
lot of
casual
people
guild.
say that.
It was Trav in chat's favorite time of his life because he always had all the consoles, even though we were living together. Because I just had my computer. Next topic: Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is coming to Xbox this fall. This is the first person. You're a little kid trying to sneak around. It was super popular. It looks terrible. I watched some streamers play it, and they were loving it the first like hour, and then it just went on.
It's
for
just
too
the same
long.
thing over and over again.
But it's
Yeah.
another
Guys-
one of those games that shouldn't be big, but it's enormous for them to get.
You guys played FNAF?
I
No.
tried it one time. I loaded in, I downloaded the game because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Downloaded it, loaded it, hit enter on the menu, and was like, nope, not for me. Immediately backed out.
Our kids go on and off obsessed with it. Like they go through phases where they play it obsessively for like a month. And
Really?
Maybe
yeah,
it's a
it's
generational
been
thing.
that way ever since it first came out.
It's
They
seeing
just go off and
streamers.
on
That's
it.
like the big thing is seeing streamers play it, and then that gets them into it, and they really want to see and like the scary games where the only actual scares are jump scares. It's not really.
Yeah, they're
scary,
really
but-
into the lore. Like they want the
Yeah.
lore. It's
So
the
this is
first
another one.
foray
Like
into
we'll look
lore.
at it. We'll look at this game and go, I'd never play this. It doesn't really matter. But it's going to end up being it's an enormous
yeah.
thing for the platform to get.
Yeah.
It's an enormous thing for preteens. I mean, they eat it up.
Right.
They
Yeah.
preteens love like horror, jump scares.
Well, and
It's
it's
good for
a good
them.
reminder that just because we don't like something doesn't mean it's not good or that
Right.
it's not popular. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Not every
To
game
the
has to be
kids,
made.
it's important. They like
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Also, a good reminder that a very, very, very large audience for gaming are kids. You know what I mean? I feel like that's something we forget a lot, especially as we get older, but we still are, are into games. It's like, man, this game's for kids. Well, yeah, man, kids play games. It's kind of how it works.
I'm just
Yeah, I never
laughing
really
at Aarsal talking about getting older. He's like 22.
Okay, I'm not 22. I'm turning 28. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm getting there.
God, I'm a month and a half from 40.
Ooh,
All
month
right,
and a
old
half.
Yeah.
August.
I don't
I'm
know.
right there with you.
Yep.
You don't
Mid-August.
realize how many kids that you're playing against when you're playing PvP. Like,
Yeah.
unless you turn on the chats,
The
like
voice chat.
all the people you're playing with are kids, basically.
I only played Killer Instinct like twice online.
Mhm.
One time I was playing against this kid, and man, he would not shut up, dude.
Oh,
Like, he'd be kicking my butt for like a round and be like, oh, you know, take this, take that. And then I'd be like kicking his butt, and he'd be like, oh, stop, please, no, don't do this. I'm like, yo, what?
Yeah. Our daughter, oh my gosh, you can hear her screaming downstairs, yelling at games, screaming, and they're almost on their third strike and they're out for being reported. So we're like, you need to be really careful because they're real competitive.
Yeah, people get way too heated. Yeah.
Yep.
Even with their friends. I'm like, well, you're gonna lose friends screaming at people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. That was League of Legends for me. It's just I had to stop playing. You get way
yeah,
too
one of the
into
most
it.
toxic.
You tunnel, and then it's just the worst.
Turn into an
somehow.
angry person.
Exactly. And the worst somehow were our in-house 5v5s, where we'd get 10 people we know together, we'd play League together, and what should have been just a fun casual thing ended up being like, you're hating people, you're screaming
Relationship
at them.
ending.
Literally, straight up. Like, oh,
Mario
God.
Party problem.
Yeah, but at least Mario's all cute, and you're like, okay, it's just a game. League, nah, man, that's
Nah, man, back in my day, Mario Party was super serious.
how are the 60s?
Can you imagine if there was online PvP in the 90s back
Oh,
with like
God.
how acceptable slurs were and
That's the
everything?
thing,
It
like,
would have
people
been
talk about
so
how-
much worse.
Yeah, people always talk about how
It was
like
bad.
toxic. Yeah, it's like it's not more toxic than it was then. It's just people have it's the ease in which people can be assholes is a lot easier than it used to be. So
Yeah, I think if there was online play in the 90s like
Oh,
it is
absolutely.
now, it
There
would have been
was-
so bad.
It was really held to like the nerdiest of us, though.
Yeah.
so some of the
On
worst.
on PC, and then the Dreamcast, we had both the modem and then the broadband adapter. for
Fancy
Dreamcast.
Star
It was
Online.
great.
Yep.
Yeah. It was okay. It really didn't get bad for a little while once it was more widespread and built into everything.
Yeah.
Which is why people go on and on about Xbox Live, and it's like, yeah, the more that was in every console, so it was much more accessible. You didn't have to buy anything extra and add on to it. So once that became the norm, it went to shit.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Especially with the peak popularity of like COD, Halo at the time. You know what I mean? Like 2008, 2009 kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah.
Those were the dark
The
ages.
dark ages.
Yeah.
All right, next thing, something that everyone loves and no one has complained about. Fall Guys is bringing their little bean Master Chief to Halo: The Master Chief Collection.
Master
Master
Chief
Chief?
Collection.
Already got it.
Yep, he's a little backpack.
It's adorable.
Why isn't he an infinite? How dare they? How dare they?
That is what I mean.
Not-
And if you look down here at the first thing from some asshole, 343 really have lost the plot. Just give Halo to another studio, I beg.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can go get that cutie little backpack in MCC
man.
starting yesterday, actually.
How do you
I gotta
get
pick
it?
that up. Just log
You
in.
just log in.
Well, I'll be back later.
It's adorable.
If MJC has like back attachments, yo, how long until they put like a full-on cape, man? Because I want like a flowing red cape.
I mean,
Did you see? I think I
I've
have
got the
the original
OG Xbox. Yeah. Yep.
oh, that's
Beast.
cool.
Yeah, it's part of the 20th anniversary last year. They gave a bunch of stuff out. There was like an Xbox backpack that was like reminiscent of the old one that you could put your 360 in, and man, it's awesome. But yeah, I've got the OG Xbox. This is the first time I'm switching away from it. It's because the bean is adorable.
And there is also in Fall Guys a Halo event going on.
Yeah.
You can get, what is it, Cat Ear Master Chief,
You
I
can-
think, from the
so,
event.
Yeah, you can, okay. So we just got almost all of our challenges done before we started recording. There is a bundle you can buy where there's a Master Chief outfit, a Brute outfit, and a Grunt, as well
Okay.
as a Grunt dance emote, which is hilarious. And then there is, you can get it's called the Perfect Helmet. Perfect Helmet
I got
for
it.
your cat ears. And then there is Cortana skin. There's and then some nameplate and stuff. And it's really easy. Like the Spartan bundle, like you have to pay their in-game currency for that. But the other
$20,
stuff,
I think, for the whole bundle.
I think so, yeah. But the other stuff you get just from playing the event. There's a Spartan
Okay.
Stadium.
Spartan Showdown.
Yeah, Spartan Showdown.
Is that on
And-
everything, or is that only on Xbox?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering about. But it's Epic. So Epic does this, cross market crap where they don't, like, even if it's, like you could get Halo on Fortnite even if you weren't playing on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Master Chief, excuse me. So
I was about to say Halo's
Halo
Run John
it's
and
been a long
Gunsting.
week, okay? Give me some
John Halo.
John Halo. Aster
Bean
Chief.
117.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's across the board, but given that it's Epic, I would assume so. Which I didn't even realize Mediatonic was bought by Epic until I loaded up Fall Guys for the first time.
Insane. Like that's for Fortnite, obviously, Rocket League, and Fall Guys now. All three are in like high played, whatever.
The
they're in.
most, the most, some of the biggest titles that cost the least to make.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Straight up.
Epic is basically like, and this isn't not saying anything about those games whatsoever, because value of a game does not equate to its budget or anything else. But it is funny that Epic, one of the biggest, publishers out there, basically is just looking to maximize its profits as much as possible by picking games that cost nothing comparatively to make. So
yeah, and all three of the games are made in a way that cosmetics really stick out.
Yeah,
you see your character constantly.
Yep,
and they all have way pricier everything than Halo Infinite has ever had.
Yeah,
that's not true.
But, 343 stuff.
Well, the difference
right?
is that it's geared towards kids who are so impulsive, and our kids are the same way. They want to spend
Kids like
all
Nick.
their money on cosmetics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
our very own special Nick has spent probably thousands of dollars in Fortnite.
I just can't imagine spending that
I
much.
I bought it.
How much do you think our kids have spent in Fortnite?
Oh,
I
God.
know it's probably not that far off, because it's literally all our son who works was spending money on for a while, and then he swapped to Dead by Daylight,
whenever they decided they wanted money for Christmas, and then they
spend it all on digital.
all their allowance, all their money, any birthday money, extra money.
Or when we gave
Fortnite.
them money to go to the store and get us something, and then they kept it and instead bought Fortnite V-Bucks.
That's fucked up.
Yes.
That's
Our
crazy.
son, we sent him to the store to buy something with the debit card, and he got $40 cash back.
Oh,
he didn't take. He didn't take. I think he thought it was free money.
Yeah. Do you want cash
to
back?
be honest.
Yes. I want cash.
Oh, man.
I had a friend who would get like $20 for lunch every day, and he'd show up at lunch and just not eat anything, and then just spend it on like WoW or some random crap. I'm like, dude.
Just load up on breakfast at home before you leave.
Yeah,
no
basically.
kidding. Jeez.
All right, any other big things? A couple smaller things. Blade Runner Enhanced Edition came out from our friend MVG's company over there. They did not have access to the source code, so it's not really ready to go. I'd really wait on some patches. You can get through it, but it's kind of rough. It's only $10. They said they're working on it a ton. They've got patches coming. We'll have a review out. John's working on it, so maybe never. Whenever Mass Effect Legendary Edition is here. He took the code for that one.
Yeah, okay. I'm feeling a little better about myself now. I totally forgot about the Mass Effect.
Yeah, he's got you beat.
I wrote
Aliens
my
Fire
review.
Team Elite. He took the code for that one.
I'm just everyone here, by the
Sorry to call
way,
you out, John.
can attest to the fact that I did write the Halo Infinite review, and I spent quite some time on it. It was like 20 minutes long. If I recorded it voice wise, it was pretty goddamn in depth. I wrote the whole damn thing, and then I just took 2 months to even start working on the video. And at that point, it was obviously a little too late. Yeah,
Ship sailed. Yeah,
I mean, I still could have still probably taken it out, but I would have spent like at least like a week editing it. It would have probably gotten like 100 views.
What happened to the season 2 one?
You know what happened? Actually, I was gonna wait until the first main event, land grab, and I did. But then it's just interest for Halo just went when it came to views and stuff. So I'm like, Okay, fine. But there will 100% be year 2 or whatever, or a year of Halo review launching when season 3 launches in November. 1000%. I have like 4 hours of gameplay saved already in 10-second formats. So
More, you should buy it.
More,
Buy what you want. Yeah, do it.
It's adorable.
do it. Speak really quick about Fall Guys though. It blew up even on Xbox. I think it's not like number 2 right now most played. True Achievements had it at number 1. But do you guys think it'll stay? Because I feel like it doesn't have the staying potential that other games have.
It never does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's this dichotomous argument, right? On one hand, I agree. I don't think it does have the staying power without a bevy of other content. And it's not like this isn't like Halo where you can have the same 10 maps and
Exactly.
find the skill jumps, and also just there's an inherent skill gap there, right? That elevates play. That's not really the case with Fall Guys. And that's not to say anything bad about it. It's just a different type of game. But at the same time, the other part of this argument that I was going to say is that a game doesn't have to be in the top 10 or even the top 20 to be successful and to remain successful, especially now that the user base of, especially with crossplay, the user base of these games are massive inherently compared to what they were before. And so you don't have to be always in the top 5 or the top 10. And if it's outside of that, it doesn't mean the game is dead. It doesn't mean the game is not successful.
I feel like people really need to figure out what top 50 means. It means out of the probably tens of thousands of games on this console, these are the top 50 most played of the entire damn thing, man. No one will come up to me and tell me Sea of Thieves is not a successful game. Well, that's not that far up in the top 50. Like, it's there, but it's not like top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20 even,
Game with 30 million players over its lifetime is dead, right? Like, that's such a coffee delivery.
It's just such a frustrating way to look at things, because it's not
Steam
done.
numbers.
Steam numbers too. It's not coming from a place of like, I want this game to do well. It's coming from a place of, Kyle, this game is doing so bad. Look at this and laugh. Blah blah blah.
It's part of that toxicity that we discussed earlier.
Exactly. There's this age-old saying where it's like, hey, if you don't got something good to say, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Yeah, I was being a little more polite with my phrasing.
That's what happens on Jesse's review on Cuphead today. Somebody says worthless review, and it's like it literally costs $0 to be respectful, and you don't have to say these things.
Well, it's funny. It was the exact same guy. He said that on the last thing I did too. I think he's just like, that's his go-to.
It's just they're just trolls. I think a lot of people just want attention. They want to have a hot take.
Yep. And that doesn't mean you can't criticize. It doesn't mean you can't complain. Right. It doesn't mean you only need to be positive. But it does mean like, hey, if all you're gonna do is say a 4-word sentence and just do a drive-by post, or just in general have zero kind of positive intention with what you're saying. Like, if you want to complain about a game like Infinite, I regularly complain about certain things. The content release schedule is too slow. It is 100%. 6 months per season is not sustainable for keeping a high population. The PC still needs work. The networking, clearly for some people, not me, for some people still has issues. Though I really think Abe should talk to his ISP, like, definitely. But
I will co-sign that.
You can say those things, but with the intention of like, I want them to improve this.
Right.
But when you say something like Halo Infinite has the worst battle pass of any game ever, which is a take I literally read like an hour and a half ago, right? And it's so stupidly false. It's like, no one's going to take what you say seriously.
Yeah, it's just touching on that really quick, considering the fact that they fixed a lot of the issues in the first battle pass in the second season, when most games take 3 or 4. I mean, I love 76 to death, but it took a very long time for Fallout First members to feel like their contributions were getting them anything in the scoreboard. And they are now. This season's great on that. But like this hyperbole and extremism that we see across the board, not just in gaming, but especially in gaming, because gamers are so goddamn vocal, and they don't have any semblance of nuance or development experience. I mean, you don't have to have development experience to criticize or to be critical, But when you take that and say, oh well, leadership sucks, they need to be fired and all that kind of stuff, you're hurting yourself. It's like that. It's that classic meme of the kid who looks like Bobby Hill from King of the Hill, throwing the damn wrench in his or twig or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Like, damn it, blame somebody else. That's literally what you're doing. And so it's just such a waste of time, a waste of energy, and that energy could be spent on things that are actually important instead of bitching about games that people are making for you.
And it's such a buzzword. Like, what does leadership mean? What does management mean? Oh God, the leadership sucks, dude. What's that mean, huh? What you think?
That's leadership? Not really.
The PMs are they leadership then? Like the people? Like, do you think a game like Halo, the gameplay even? Do you think it's like a bunch of rogue developers working on the gameplay and then being held hostage by this evil leadership team saying you have to make sure that map takes another 2 months to release, all right, or you can't go home or some weird crap? Like, there are obviously some issues when it comes to the release scheduling or whatnot at 343. There definitely is. And hey, maybe some of the producers are the problems, or maybe some of the team at monetization, whatever, blah blah blah, right? But it's like leadership management is such a useless word because it doesn't mean it.
It's the boogeyman.
Yeah,
right? It's the scapegoat. It's just an easy way to
it's the
funnel.
synergy.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to focus your ire at individuals without having any idea what the fuck.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, but no, not Staten. Staten. I don't even.
Staten.
Not Staten. No, not him. Everyone else. Not him. It's like you don't know anyone else."
And a lot of the times in our comment sections and stuff, it's definitely people looking to get blocked so they can complain about being blocked.
Oh yeah.
Because when you
Can't say
directly
anything
attack
bad about
someone, we don't allow direct personal attacks.
Yep.
Right.
Constructive criticism, sure. Complaining about a game, fine. But if you start attacking people on the team or on the game dev or just even anyone in general, doesn't matter. I don't care if you're saying if you say Jim Ryan's a cuck, I'm probably going to remove it. We don't need personal attacks at anyone.
And
people are just all about engagement. Engagement. That's all they think of.
What's it called? Jesse, our Capcom React, right? We talked over the whole, not the Capcom, sorry, that was you and Dan.
Extended showcase.
We talked over the whole thing, and we did, and I got it too. And we had a comment saying, hey, I couldn't hear anything. And it was a pretty, criticizing comment, but it was still worded in a way that wasn't you guys suck, I hate you.
It's we should have paid more attention to the devs, but it was also I just didn't find it all interesting. So at times I'm going to interact with the chat. That's what a co-stream is. It's yes, you should pay attention, but I'm going to interact with chat.
But we took that criticism and we didn't delete the comment, or now you replied to it, and it's hey, we get it, right?
I was going to say, usually, when you're watching a React video, usually watch it on your own first.
Exactly.
And then you watch the React video.
Exactly.
If you're deciding to watch that as your main, digestion, then
we have people there that are live, but they're not, they're not there just to hear what's on. They like being a part of it live, but they also they have us live on the side while they are watching on their TV or something.
Dan, someone made a comment recently, and it fits so damn well, where it's you have armchair game devs, right? Talking about game development and all these companies, no, they should have done this, should have done that. That's the same thing as the people who are super into sports, like NBA or NHL or whatever, and they're like, I can't believe this person didn't pass to that person, or I can't believe they didn't take that shot, or why didn't the coach do this? It's dude, who are you, man? You're sitting on your couch watching the professional world-class athletes play this game.
It reminds me of the great scene from Ted Lasso when Roy Kent is basically storming off the Sky News show because he's like, we're all sitting here telling these players how to play the game, and then we get upset when they don't play the way we want them to play. It's it's just like that. That's just like analysts, or I'm sorry, commentators who don't do the thing that they're commentating on. Yeah, having the same voice as people who do is part of the problems.
It's one thing if you're coming from a place where it's hey, I was a game developer, or I still am, and I'm using that as my information or my things. But come on, online forums, nah. Especially when they ignore the developers who are talking.
Exactly.
Man. Sorry, that was a big
It's-
tangent.
It's almost like when on one of our recent shows, one of the co-hosts was like, I could put together a far better Xbox Bethesda showcase than they could. I could do an E3 of Dreams. It's like,
Oh,
you have
man.
no idea how any of this works. None of us do. We can all have thoughts in our head, but we don't know what the business deals you have to do to be able to put this shit together, just the timing of it all, what's available, what isn't available. Like, we don't know.
Speaking of the paradoxical entitlement, it's like the E3 of Dreams, which everybody always brings up.
It was a
Most
lie.
of those games didn't even they weren't gameplay that you're
Yep.
seeing, and they didn't come out. Some of them didn't come out for 6 to 7 years or five to 6 years.
Dreams came out, I think, 5 years after it was revealed on that show.
The Final Fantasy 7 remake was 2020 for F's sake.
Yep.
Like that was it was shown off in 2015 after being technically a tech demo for years prior to that. So like this whole concept of like, okay, well, we want them to show gameplay, but it's not that gameplay that we want. But it's like, okay, you can't have gameplay if it's not near release. So I don't know. That was such
We could go on that for a while.
Anyway, I digress.
All right, I'm going to get into a shill segment here, the thing I always try and get them to do on the main podcast, which is we put out a lot of content.
Sure do.
And if you're like me and you don't actually have ad block on, boy, we've got a lot of ads on our page right now. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
we do. We do.
I mean, like there was nothing here on this side before, but this bottom one is annoying as hell.
Yep.
But yeah, so we've got the information. I got this one out. We've had a lot of reviews lately going up from a bunch of different people. We have a lot of stuff that we do. Holy shit. The hell did his Jurassic World Evolution get 12,380 clicks on the site?
Damn.
I guess I shouldn't have made that one text only, but he didn't capture any footage, so it was only ever going to be text only.
Who did that one?
Damn.
It's on fire.
Svika.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So we do quite a lot here. XboxEra.com, also youtube.com/XboxEra, where we have way more content than a site with a team our size should. And I think it's pretty darn good quality-wise, and I am extremely biased. And if you want to help support us, by far the best way you can is at Patreon. It's patreon.com/XboxEra. Even if if it was $1 every month from every subscriber we had on YouTube, it'd be a lot of money. So there were a few more smaller news items I can just get through quickly. Escape Academy got dated for Game Pass. That is the escape room game they showed a few times before, once on an ID at Xbox show with Twitch, and then once, I think it might have been Summer Games Fest, like one of those streams. It's a group-based escape room in a Wizard Academy coming to Game Pass, which is perfect for it. It looks pretty fun. Yeah, you're right, Mort. I should do more. And the other big news that people have been flipping out on, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection is exclusively not coming to Xbox. It is coming to modern consoles, of which Xbox must not be one. So,
Yeah, that one hit.
Console.
That one hit a
That's
little
all.
bit.
That seems like a bit of a dig. Modern console.
And it's weird because Capcom has really been all about.
I mean, Street Fighter's obviously coming on Xbox, right? So
Yep, the Mega Man
it's-
collections came.
It's an odd. Yeah, I've got the Mega Man collection and the Mega Man X collection.
Yep.
Far superior to Battle Network. I don't care what anybody says, so I'm not all beat up about missing out on the worst Mega Mans. But okay.
Have you guys played the Battle Networks?
Oh
I
yeah,
have
Game
not-
Boy
I never
Advance.
even heard of
Dude.
them.
I got them.
I never had a Game Boy.
I bought like 1 through 3 on Game Boy Advance
Damn.
like the day they were out because I was a huge Mega Man fanboy back in the day. And so
Yeah.
people, and I mean, they were not highly reviewed. If I remember right, they were like
Really?
70s, 80s, maybe. So the fact that everybody's freaking out about this, to me, feels a little bit disingenuous.
It is a part of it. It's on everything.
Yeah,
Like,
it
why-
is
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
Like Capcom should be held accountable.
Like if it was
for sure.
Switch and PC or PS4, sure I'd get it. If it was PS4 and PC, sure I'd get it. But like Switch, PC, and PS4, like dude, come on, like you have the
That's
PC
only
port.
the JRPG realm, like the NIS or the Falcom games. Like,
Exactly. I did play these games a
Capcom
lot
doesn't normally do
as a kid, and I did really like them. And what helped was there was an anime airing at the time, and I would watch that like almost every day, whenever the hell it aired. So like, yeah, God, it's just sad. I really wanted them. I would have bought them. I bought Ace Attorney. Damn it, I would have bought these.
It is weird though. I mean, we just had the Capcom Fighting Collection release.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6 is obviously on Xbox. And
We're stuck in the past. We're not modern.
Admittingly, though,
Not
I wouldn't
modern
be
enough.
surprised if it does just show up a few months later in Game Pass. You know?
Yeah.
And that's one thing people always bring up: Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. But they can't have the precedent be, if you
Yeah.
hold something off, eventually we will pay you.
You're
Yeah.
right. That's true.
Yeah.
And their answer has to just be, well, we need to become big enough, and they are selling quite well in Japan.
I mean, yeah.
It's, it's just you can't ignore the platform anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even just because, like, you could argue last generation that, you know, developers, especially smaller developers who could not afford to develop for multiple APIs and release it for, you know, Xbox and PS4, that obviously they choose PS4, right? Because the user base was so much larger. But this generation, I mean, by all, you know, accurate accounts, the series consoles are neck and neck with PlayStation 5. So,
Yeah.
And beating them in Japan several weeks, which has never hasn't happened in a decade plus. So like there's going to come a point when if Sony's paying for content, it's going to become too expensive, or if they're not paying for content and they're just, you know, devs are skimping out because they've done the bad calculus to say, oh well, if we make a game, it's not going to get the return. Now that calculus becomes incalculable, right? Like it just doesn't work because you have Xbox Series consoles selling as much as they do. It just makes sense. So
even if you like discount how close they are to PS5 or the weeks they beat it, at the end of the day, it's the consoles are selling well, man.
Yeah.
They're selling so much better than they did in the Xbox One generation, to the point where it's like what, like, it's not just that they're selling well. Let me say, it's that they keep selling better.
Yeah,
not better than PS5, better than themselves. Like they keep increasing their sales, which is like a really, really cool thing for any Xbox Japanese fans. Yeah,
yeah, and like further to that too, development for PC Xbox One series is you know, there's no gap like there used to be because of GDK and because of DX12U for developers that use the latter. It's a standardized API. It's open source now too. You can download GDK, start developing on your own. So those days of having to of the jump between PC, PlayStation, and Xbox being such a, you know, insurmountable leap are gone, at least for two of those three. You know?
Yeah.
So. There comes a time when you have to stop dismissing a whole platform.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, obviously we know Sony was trying to get Street Fighter 6 exclusive, right? And we know that that's not the case. And I bet it's because Capcom did look at the calculus and say, look, you know, Mortal Kombat sells a shit ton on Xbox, and Xbox is becoming it's like the 360 days again. So, and at this rate, actually even better than 360 days. So, you know, it just probably was too expensive for Sony to be able to justify, or Capcom to be willing to accept.
Yeah. All right. That is it for our main topics, pretty much. The only other one was the Halo Master Chief Collection blog post, which was just a bunch of cool stuff. And then them positing the theory of potentially adding in microtransactions for people to catch up on, optional microtransactions to catch up on old seasons, essentially. You can just buy those unlock tokens in who knows what type of bundles, and then just unlock things instead of having to grind for, 200 hours to try and catch up to everyone else if you hadn't played the game before. Not a thing they're putting in, just a thing they thought about, and people really lost it.
Yeah, people focused on that and not the other awesome elements of the fact that, there were things like they're getting rid of seasons after this and moving to series, which is similar to Forza. And what that tells us is that they still plan for additional content.
Yes, and this is after they said they weren't going to.
Exactly. So, like, this is another classic example of Xbox either, lowering expectation or keeping expectation and actually shooting above that, and people still bitch.
Well, they were only 4 years into completely rebuilding and adding in tons of content that never existed to this game for free.
Exactly, and that was going to be my next point. It's like,
and it's still free.
Exactly, it's still free. Not only are they continuing to add content, but you've already reaped the benefits of 4+ years of free content that, like Jesse said, was never in the original games. So that means systems had to be built. That means, engine had to be reworked on some level to be able to fit those within memory budgets, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that people took that one component and started bitching about it just tells you what's wrong with gamers as a whole.
And it's still just cosmetics too. It's nothing gameplay wise. It's just dress up.
What really pissed me off was, I mean, obviously it was disingenuous, right? Almost all of these complaints are disingenuous. That no one can deny that. But just how blatant, exactly, and just how blatantly obvious it was. Anyone who's played MCC knows that they're on season 8, I think, of these battle passes, right?
Yeah.
And it's really not that hard to progress through them. There's so many different ways, so many different challenges, so many different things to get through them. But like, there's a lot, man. Like, if you don't want to spend like another 12 hours or 24 hours playing all the time and getting all the ones that you want to get, you can just buy them. Like, it's really not a big deal. Even calling it microtransactions feels like you're exaggerating what they are.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't know if you guys are the same, but MCC has always seemed like a game that you come back to for years, right?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I've probably completed 4 or about half of the season so far.
Yeah, I've done a thing like 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just jump around and grab the things that I want within those tiers until
exactly.
But it's the type of game that you keep coming back to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
They've specifically built it for that purpose. So the goal isn't to get all the cosmetics, at one point. And so treating it as if, oh, well, people are just, this is just, taking advantage of people. Like, people don't play MCC like that. So again, like you were saying, Aarsal, it's totally disingenuous. It's another unnecessary element to create drama, because
it's a compilation of decade or older games that they keep adding stuff to. It's pretty unprecedented in its pretty unprecedented in its support. Where they released it was terrible. They fixed it up enough to make it bad, came back years later and made it incredible. And it's one of the best compilations of great games that's ever been released. And they keep adding more and more to both the multiplayer and things that you can actually bring with you into the campaigns too, in a way you never could before.
Yeah, and
it's all cosmetic.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, let's say they release these, purchasable Spartan points. Jesus, that's hard to say. Let's say they release that.
Let's just say buyable.
Well, that is the majority of people aren't going to buy that, and that's okay. But the people that do, that is their damn choice. But more importantly, that feeds the developers to give us more content for free. That's how these things work. That's why Fortnite, you don't buy anytime there's a new island or whatever. You don't pay for that. It's a sunk cost built from microtransactions. That's how this works. So, like,
why does Diablo 4 not have any microtransactions? Because Diablo Immortal has them all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's essentially paying for it.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, again, another classic example of, like, all right, gamers, what are you asking for? Because if you ask for, oh, well, I don't want there to be any microtransactions, but I want a game to be supported for 10 years, that means you're going to be paying for something.
Yes.
Or you can have optional microtransactions and let 10% of the people pay for your free content, dumbasses.
Yep.
Yeah, and what about the phrase "read the room"?
Oh, the Halo community. I mean, I said my piece in the podcast last week, but like, there is no pleasing this community. There is no optimal time. There is no goodwill.
Yeah, you said it didn't matter when they said this. It would still be the same reaction, and you're 100% right. Sorry, continue, Aarsal. My bad.
No, that's it. I mean, that's literally all it is. It honestly feels a little. I'm not calling John naive, but it feels a little bit where it's like, oh, if they just release this when the co-op announced or whatnot, blah, blah, blah. No, all that would do is taint those announcements.
Yep. Yeah, it would overshadow this co-op stuff. Oh, wow, this co-op looks great. Yeah, but you hear about all this shit with the microtransactions and MCC.
Yep. Smarter for them to get it out of the way now, get all the YouTube clickbaits and everything, blah, 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 going hard now, and then keep releasing the pretty good blog posts like the co-op one right now, which is like, they're putting a lot of damn work into this.
Yeah.
Like,
if today's reaction by the vitriolic gamers out there about the area of what do they call it, the AOO, area of operation, if that didn't tell you that there's literally nothing that 343 can do to please most of those online vocal people, you need to go get your head checked, because that's the clearest sign that there is to say that these fuckers they're never going to be happy. And they don't want to be happy.
They don't
because
want
it's
to
all
be.
about creating drama about the most inane, minor bullshit instead of focusing on things that actually matter. But
We could talk about that
One-
for like
Yeah, I
weeks,
like
man.
One final point, and I think it's a brilliant one from Britt in the chat. They should remove multiplayer from Halo Master Chief Collection and sell it as a new $70 multiplayer only title called Halo Factions.
yep, and then sell it 3 years later.
Yeah, they got to keep it off the
remade.
market for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to only see
Then
concept
remake it
art
in a
Yeah,
decade.
first.
Yeah.
I can't say anything else.
These are all jokes about Last of Us, Amanda. They're very funny.
You guys suck.
I'm very, but I will say after today's blog
I
post,
believe
I'm
it.
very excited. I finally get to play Halo Infinite with Amanda soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in general, like, dude, Halo Infinite, like anyone playing that
So
game
fun.
knows that. Oh god, I can't wait to play this in co-op. Like, you can feel
Amanda,
it.
Catherine's just like you. She won't play unless we get to play together. So
Yeah,
That's
and
cute.
I
Yeah.
still have no idea what the story is. I don't know where it goes. I haven't seen
That's cool.
anything. It's been spoiled, so I'm just waiting.
that's awesome.
We should play through like 4 and 5 again as we get
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, especially 5 and
5
4.
gets
Actually, you're
all
right. 4 and 5. Yeah.
All right, we did have 3 questions from the Peanut Gallery today from 3 regulars. First, do you want to read them, Ursula? You want me to? I got them up.
Yep, I have them up. You can read them. We can alternate.
Okay, I will start first then with good old Collingwood, who has 2 questions. And let me put the goddamn thing up. Oh, there we go. There's 1. There's 2. Bam! Right in the middle because it's pretty big. I don't have anywhere else to put it.
I think Destin trademarked that.
Hello, the Not XboxEra podcast panel. 2 questions. First, Halo question. Have you played Fall Guys and donned the Master Chief skin? So Dan has. Ursula, have you?
I have not done. Okay, wait, but really quick though. Actually, I wanted to talk about this earlier. Is this skin only the one of the cat ears?
No. There's a bundle. So you get the chief. Like I said, you get the chief skin, you get the brute skin, you get the grunt skin, and then you get the grunt dance emote, and then the perfect.
Okay.
cat
Okay.
helmet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
the
a
bundle's
part of me-
$20, and then the
Okay.
the perfect and all that is part of the challenge.
A part of me
It's
was
like
thinking
Halo
that, like,
Spartan Showdown.
A Spartan with the cat ears has become so iconic that that's now the only thing they put on in other games.
Well, despite what some gatekeepers may say, apparently there's a lot of gamers that love it. So
Yeah,
I mean, it
it's
looks
like a
pretty
meme
cool.
now.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I know neither myself nor Amanda have played it yet. I have it installed.
Hmm.
I haven't given it a go. I probably should. Maybe I'll stream it.
you two and Catherine.
You're
and I
too
should play.
competitive.
Oh, it's
Just get ready for some really long load screens.
yeah.
Oh yeah, all the old consoles dragging us
Yeah.
down.
Yep.
Switch, especially, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh
Yep.
God.
All right. And question 2, podcast question. Last week we had the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary event, and yesterday the Nintendo third-party partners direct.
Eh.
While Xbox players are happy to see Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Remake coming to the console, there was mixed to poor reactions with the news that Final Fantasy VII Remake is missing Xbox, and then Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection getting released everywhere but Xbox. It seems like for every step forward, Persona, we then fall back 2 steps. I don't agree.
Like a half
I'm
step.
interested in the panel's thoughts about getting Japanese games on the platform, and especially new games and IPs. What needs to be done to ensure Xbox is part of the dialogue? And also he wants, can each of the panel members say what's going on? So let's do that before we start answering this. What's going on? Dan,
What's going on?
Ursula,
Oh no.
With the accent, because my Aussie accent, I can't do
whatever
it.
you feel like.
I'm
Whatever you
gonna
feel like
try
doing
it, but it's not. It's gonna be some amalgamation of some. I don't even know what. All right. What's going?
It's like, what's going on?
What?
He doesn't really do an accent
What?
during it.
What's going on? Okay, that's it. That's all I can.
Do you even want to try it, honey?
I don't like being put on the spot, but I'll just go, what's going on?
What? Why are you saying it like that?
like
The-
Whip.
To the question at hand, I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing because it is far better than people seem to accept. We got Persona, which has literally only ever been on PlayStation, now finally coming to Switch and PC and Xbox and Game Pass day one. Like, there's more games coming now than we had the past, from like 2015 to 2020 combined, just this year alone.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't agree with the step forward, 2 steps back, because like you said, Jesse, Persona, we got the full Kingdom Hearts suite. We've gotten all of the Yakuza series. Hell, we
Lost
had
Ruins.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
Judgment.
yeah, exactly. You go through the
Yeah.
list. Soul Hackers too. Atlas in general.
This AI, all the like
The-
Chunsoft stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
Chunsoft. I mean, it's actually people see 2 titles, 3 technically with the Battle Network thing, 3 titles, and that's somehow it's somehow a signifier of what's actually going on with Japanese content, which is not what's actually happening. And I do think Japanese content is very important because, like I always try to remind people in the forums, it's not only Japanese people that play that content.
Yes.
And also, like, from a cultural anthropologist standpoint, which is my background in education, they're really important because they give people a window into other cultures, right? That's why Ms. Marvel's so awesome and why it's so necessary, for the same kind of reasons.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that we're seeing a broad, stroke where Japanese development is skipping Xbox. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake, as somebody who adores the original, is not nearly as good as I would have hoped. So for me, it's not a big deal. Final Fantasy 16, also, now that Tabata's not at Square Enix anymore, again, not too much of a big deal. But even for those that it is a big deal for, we're talking about 2 or 3 games, if you count the Battle Network, that aren't that. And Battle Network is not, by any means, no matter what people tell you, it is not a big deal. It's not a AAA Final Fantasy title, right? And like we had a discussion in our Discord the other day, when we have all these other games that we just listed off that are coming to Xbox, and you have 1 or 2 that aren't, to say that the support isn't there is paradoxical, right? It doesn't align with reality. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All I'll say, well, I'll say a little bit more, but all I'll say is friendship with Square Enix broken. New best friend Atlas. All right. It's just frustrating, man. It's Final Fantasy 16 was shown. I didn't like it the first couple of trailers. But, this looks like 14, which looks like a really bland, kind of boring art style. The latest trailer actually looked kind of cool. It did. But then with the uncertainty behind when the hell Final Fantasy 7's coming, if it's coming, is it not coming? And now with this, it's just frustrating, man. Like, I want to play these games, but I'm not going to succumb to your goddamn flipping schemes here and play it on my PlayStation, which I'll eventually get, because screw that. I ain't falling for that. But in terms of the Japanese support, I hear people saying like, oh, but what about the small games? What about the tiny ones that keep skipping Xbox? Phil can't go and Xbox can't go and contact every single Japanese game. There's thousands of them releasing constantly. They can't go and talk to every single one. All they can do is talk to the ones they can, and more importantly, make their product as appealing as possible for the region.
And plus, their initiatives have only been a few years, really.
Right.
And
exactly.
a lot of these things coming out were already out and signed for different contracts before that.
Yeah, we're talking about 4 years, essentially, of having to make up for about 10, because Matrick burned a lot of bridges. People,
and it's ramping up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's obviously ramping up. We got a game being made by Kojima directly, which is pretty flipping cool. We have a third-party game by Team Ninja. Like, they haven't released a game on Xbox in a while, especially not like from their Neo team. You know what I mean?
Tango Gameworks. I mean, that's a foot in the door for a lot of developers over there.
Yeah, straight up.
And they're building up Xbox Japan as their own entity.
Yep. A lot of people are really underplaying this Persona announcement, not just for Xbox, for what it means for the other platforms too, because P3P, right? Persona 3 Portable, that's like the first time I think it's even showing up on PC, or other games showing up on PC.
The first time it's on anything other than PSP, which I still have my PSP
crazy.
copy.
Damn. Like, you can't look at the stuff in a vacuum, right? You can't be like, oh, I didn't like the 2022 announcements, or I didn't like them enough, therefore they're not doing enough. Right? No, it's a gradual thing, and it's clearly ramping up.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, and we've got a 4-part question from Mort. You want to hit that one, Soul?
Yeah, sure. Mort. Well, hello there, Spartans. Actually, it was a ... but whatever. Glad to see you had me at Halo stand and the others fall. Winky face. I'll throw a few questions your way. Number 1, I recently learned that goofy cosmetics is avoided in Halo Infinite due to the horrible Halo community throwing a fit at everything. So with that in mind, what would be your most goofy cosmetic item you'd add simply to piss off all the toxic pieces of crap on our Halo? etc. What would it be?
Master Chief, like ass that you
Yeah.
can put on the back of your Spartan.
I would say Mistress Chief.
Oh,
Yeah. A Master Chief with like a rainbow floaty device on his arms, and just all the things that you could piss off all the transphobes and assholes that are on our Halo.
Yeah, that'd work
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Darth Vader's helmet. Like, not even like Halo-fied, just straight up his helmet. Like,
Yeah.
Don't even
say-
go there. No.
Nice. Yes.
Master
Yeah, that would
Chief
work great,
Unicorn.
That would work great, too.
Unicorn, please and thank you. Make it as non-Halo as possible, just to piss off all the.
Yeah.
I don't want bad armor in my Halos.
I was gonna say Master Unicorn, but then I thought Mistress Chief would be worse to the people.
Yep. So what's the next one? There's-
Two.
You guys can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I just my mic fell out again. Number 2, lots of games coming next year. Which one do you think releases first? When and why? What?
Lots of games coming from Xbox next year, which you think releases first, when and why. I think you'd probably think that Redfall is first.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's Redfall, Forza Motorsport, then
Starfield.
but because they said spring on Forza Motorsport.
Yep.
Like they said, spring 2023.
Yeah.
So, but that.
So what is
that's
that?
not
February
think-
to May?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
I don't know what seasons are in the States.
We actually, you know what? I don't think spring is like what, March? Or
March
June,
21st.
right? It could actually be after Starfield. You never know.
I'm still betting that Starfield comes out in May.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Starfield. I'm sorry, BGS. Anytime they've delayed a November game, which has only been twice. Every time, each time the games either come out in March or May. Given the scale of the game, as well as the fact that Redfall is coming out when it is, and like you said, Jesse, Forza is probably going to be sandwiched in there between. It just makes sense, I think.
And they've got a lot of stuff in the first half of next year for Game Pass, which is, I think, in their minds, pretty much like first party, and they want to spread them out a little bit. Not spread them out by quarters, but spread them out by months or weeks even. So
I think that's how people should start looking at Game Pass as a whole, because obviously there's tons of timed exclusives in there, and more importantly, they're games that you don't have to buy, but you automatically have access to. So
it's kind of crazy when you think about over the next 12 months just how many Game Pass games we know are coming, and the amount that are coming the rest of this year that we know like dates on now and stuff. I'm waiting on to find out what the big hit for Game Pass is going to be. Well, we already know like 6 or 7 things in July alone.
Exactly.
It's it's nice.
Mort's third question is actually the same as Travis's question. So I'm going to read Travis
double
really
up.
quick.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Norris or Jesse Brother. Honestly, did not have any questions for you gentlemen this week. Kind of done a Halo for a little while. Really overdid it in the last
He played it
couple
a
months.
lot. Yeah.
Okay. But since you're the de facto XboxEra podcast this week, what game releasing this summer and fall are you looking forward to the most? I'd go Dark
we can,
Tide. And
we
Mort's
can make
question,
those 3. Yep.
yeah, Mort's question was, what's your top 3 most anticipated games this fall, this year, we could say.
Yep.
Mine are pretty obvious, so I'll go with mine, and I'll keep it pretty simple. Summer is Hot Wheels. I already own it, which is cool. And fall is, Persona. I'm finally getting to properly
You
play
need
it.
one more.
God
Put me
dang
on
it.
spot.
Okay.
Just say it.
One
You can
Piece.
do it.
I probably won't buy it, unless it's like really, really good. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more about it.
Do you want to have to play it for like 70 hours in a week to do a review?
I'll let you know if I have the time when we get the cut. If we get
How
the
about you? Are there 3 that you are interested or looking forward to, honey?
I was just trying to think if I knew 3. I know Overwatch 2 is going to overshadow everything, so that would be all 3.
I think knowing what you're into, you didn't like Vermintide because it was all melee and gross rats.
What about the farming, the space farming sims?
That's early next year.
Next year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Not
what
this year.
when that
Chocolate
was.
Hauntelier, is that this year?
Which one?
I don't think so. He just announced it, so I'd be surprised. The Chocolate Hauntier, the Haunted Chocolatier, which is the
that
game
makes
from
sense.
Stardew Valley, yeah.
Haunted Chocolatier. Okay, that makes more sense.
And Amanda reviewed Stardew Valley, so maybe she'd end up doing that one if it is coming. But yeah, if I know you, honey, I think Warhammer Darktide, which is Travis's, which I think we'll all play together. It's one of those big horde, crazy, but it's a shooter one instead of the melee like the last one. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'd probably go with-
Vermintide, I just dragged everybody down.
Just
when I
because
played that,
too many
so
rats.
yeah, it was.
Vermintide was hard. I think you were the spellcaster, and the spellcaster's big thing was constantly killing herself, which made it
'cause you
very hard to
can't
play.
use the fire too often. Yeah.
Interesting.
I kept
Yeah.
burning myself to death because I didn't realize what was going on.
What about you, Daniel?
Darktide first, right off the bat. There's a lot. I mean, God, it was funny before we started this podcast. I was actually reading both Trav's and Mort's question to prepare myself for once, and I was looking through the release list. And I was like, God damn, there's so much coming out. But Darktide, Persona,
When's Darktide releasing? September?
It is September 13th.
Okay.
Okay, so
Game
just
Pass.
like barely fits the fall moniker, but okay, all right.
Well, you
Wait,
said
no,
something.
I mean summer moniker.
All
fine,
is
summer
until
moniker,
the fall.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I meant
question
it
was-
barely fits the summer moniker.
Mort's question was this fall. Thank you very much.
Okay, fair enough.
we get summer and fall is until like the end of freaking December. So
Yeah, exactly. So Darktide, Persona, and then there's so many, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Callisto Protocol, just because I've loved what that team has built. And God, I can't remember his name now, right off the top of my head.
Joel Schumacher.
No, smart
I
ass.
know.
Dude,
Oh my god. Oh god.
yeah, we're all blinking.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Dead Space.
yeah,
Correct.
That dude, who went on to found Sledgehammer and all
Glenn
that kind of stuff.
Schofield.
Here we go. Schofield.
He's always made. He's always he's been one of those people who's built great teams. So
Yeah.
I don't want to give him all the credit for making great games, but he's been able to build great teams, and it looks like everything that I wanted a Dead Space 3 to be. So
That's a great tangent to Mort's final question.
Okay.
I have,
Hey, I
I
didn't
have
get to
one
go.
more. One
Oh,
more.
Justin,
my
I
bad.
I was,
Yeah, go, honey.
Come on, yeah.
Amanda.
I was just waiting. When does
Oh, Jesse, you
the
can go either.
medieval mystery game come out?
Pentiment?
November. It counts.
Okay.
How did
So
I
that's
forget that
fall.
one? Josh Sawyer. I'm so sorry.
I didn't forget.
What was it called?
Pentiment.
Pentiment. It
Okay,
comes.
yeah.
Did you give it an actual date? Hold on. I'm literally on my spreadsheet for everything.
God,
It doesn't have a date, just November.
Yeah,
be honest,
my
if,
history degree is mainly medieval history.
So
That's actually really cool.
You're born for this.
we should see if we can get Josh Sawyer on and you could interview him. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that'd be really cool.
We talk
Man,
about couch a lot, so
I've been looking at this. I've got my game code request log for everything I've requested a review on, and holy shit, I'm at 125 for the year. 124 for the year. Jesus,
that's insane.
god damn. I'm sure there'll be even more, and we've hit most of them. We really haven't missed many through the
Who's that
first.
machine?
Jesus Christ, through the first 82.
Damn.
How'd that happen? But yeah, so I think I'm going to be doing. I'm trying to see if I can get the Hot Wheels expansion early. Going to be doing that one. But I need like some honorable mentions because they're smaller things. Midnight Fight Express looks super cool.
That looks super
It's
cool.
coming. It's
Yes.
coming to Game Pass. But something that's coming the exact same day is Saints Row, which actually looks like it could be really goddamn fun. I'm really looking forward to the review on that one. Warhammer Darktide's way up there because just playing it with you guys, playing it with my brother and my wife. God, that's going to be really fun.
So damn good. I'm such a huge Warhammer fan, casually. So
And I like the 40K stuff more than the Vermintide.
I don't get it, man. How can people even entertain the idea of like there's no games or like there's a drought or
Well,
something?
because
Like,
they want very specific things.
it's a deluge. It's the opposite. Like we're drowning.
There's a lot of
there's some people that only like third-person action adventure sad dads that play like Sony games.
Sad.
So I need to put some honorable
We'll
mentions
get
out
that
for
one.
things that should make the list, but
I mean,
there's too much.
of course, what's it called? Rat something. Plague Tale.
Plague Tale is one of the first ones. Plague Tale Requiem, Gotham Knights, freaking
Rat
Callisto
Tale.
Protocol, Hogwarts.
The first game had
Legacy.
rat in it, right?
There's so many things coming out.
Is it?
It's Plague Tale Innocent.
A rat's tail. No, Plague Tale.
A Plague Tale Innocent. It's not about Ratigan or friggin' Fible's Tale. Fable Goes West. It was,
I'm thinking of Vermintide. Okay, I'm mixing the two up.
Still no rats in that.
Vermin rat. It's kind of interchangeable.
yeah, the biggest ones for me are the ones.
Yeah.
It's going to be Saints Row, most likely. God, I hope that doesn't suck. Warhammer Dark Tide's like one of the big ones, and it's awesome that it's in Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
And there's a game called There Is No Light, which really reminds me of Hyper Light Drifter. They've shown off a few times, and I got us on the review code list for that. It was super fucking hard to find because they're Russian, and boy, I found who it was, and I got it. God damn, that was a hard one.
This looks like the 2D Bloodborne, right? It looks wise.
It's kind of like that 3/4 or kind of over the top Hyper Light Drifter. Actually, I can probably pull up a video of it real quick. There Is No Light gameplay.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, they put out a demo of it. I haven't tried it yet because this was like, but yeah, it's that pixel aesthetic, and yeah, here it is right here. Whoop! I almost went to 5-person. That would have been bad. Yeah, so it's like that, pretty much overhead, but a little like 3/4-ish. Fast movement, trying to be punishing. It looks really cool. Supposedly it plays really well. I've done a few reviews like this. Like Loot River was kind of like this, though not as actiony. Unsold is one that's on Game Pass that is fantastic. Some of the best combat I've ever played. It's only like 3 hours long. If you want to get everything and get the good ending, it's like maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is one of like my sleeper ones for what I'm really looking forward to later this year, and I'll be doing a review for it as long as they remember we exist, unlike some PR companies end up doing.
Yeah, I'm just baffled by the amount of people that just said this showcase was boring and they're not interested in anything. And it's like, what are you interested in then? There's literally every single genre and multiple games in each genre. Like,
that's it.
No, see, they weren't interested in everything. Therefore, the show was a failure to them.
Right.
It's just such a.
I mean, again, it kind of harkens back to that point where not every game has to be made by you and made for you, and more importantly, because like if you want gaming to expand, if you want Xbox to succeed and excel and expand to beyond what it was before, you have to get audiences that don't play the same games. You have to branch out in genre. You have to branch out in experience, and you're not going to do that by making this. I mean, it's the same reason Sony's kind of plateaued, because they're and now they're shifting years later. It's because
live service
for a while all they made was third person sad dads, third person to be fair, third person action adventure games, right?
Yes.
Like that plateaus. I mean, there's a reason God of War or Uncharted or Last of Us didn't sell Mario or Nintendo numbers, because those games do not have the appeal that those games do. And so Sea of Thieves being a bigger title than literally any of those games I mentioned, there's a reason it's that way. And so people just cannot separate the fact that they live in a gaming world where not everything is made for them. And
I want to show something real quick just to give people an idea of how much shit is just coming for that we're trying to cover. So this is I hid a lot of the PR company stuff over on the right. There's a lot more over here. What?
I can't say that.
Oh, did you even survive this next month? What the hell?
So yeah, so like this is just the stuff I've put in requests for, pretty much.
Simulator.
And like if you just go, this is just like the rest of the year. Like these are just the things I put in requests for, and there's this many different things.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
And this is what's already come this year that we've gone over all these things. Like there's so many games, no one can ever keep up with it. This is just the thing I made for the things I requested. It's obviously not everything everywhere. It's just the stuff we tried to cover.
Yeah, and this is just this year. Like,
Sorry,
video games are there's so many video games. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, if you actually like video games and playing them, there's a ton to be excited about. And the thing is, like, the beauty of
if
Game
you
Pass,
actually want to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The beauty about Game Pass is that Abe's talked about it. I know all of you guys have too. That you tend to find experiences that you never would have given a chance to because it's not in your not necessarily in your wheelhouse, but because you don't have that price barrier, you get the opportunity to try and support a lot of different games and devs that you normally wouldn't. So,
And a lot of people, especially a lot of the more casual crowd, I want to say, and actually an annoyingly large amount of the hardcore crowd, are like weirdly resistant to any game that's not like hyper realistic graphics.
I fear change.
And it's like, dude, give it a shot, right? Like, for example, The Messenger, I did not want to play it at all. Then I'm like, whatever, let me give it a shot. I mean, the graphics look like it's a game made in like the 80s or something, right? But then I goddamn loved it. One of the best games I've played. And I told everyone.
Bored.
My brother played it. He had a blast, and he would not have played a title like that normally. It's just open your mind, just try. You have Game Pass already. You're already paying for the damn thing, right? You got Cloud now. Just click the damn game and try it.
Yep. You spend more time doom scrolling than you would if you just took the time to try.
This isn't Netflix where like you have to invest like hours and hours into a season or a show. That's why you take forever to pick one. Nah, man, just click a damn game, click the Cloud button, start playing, and if you like it, install it. Like,
preach.
Mm-hmm. There was one last part to Mort's question there.
Yes, there was. Last part was, which will be better, the Callisto Protocol or the Dead Space 1 remake? Hugs, Mort.
Thanks, Mort.
Stuff like Dead Space 1 is an all-time classic, so it's a lot for Callisto Protocol to go up against. But I mean, they're both the first in a series, potentially, so I have no clue. I don't know. Callisto Protocol will be something new. So by that token, it both gains and loses because some people are just going to have nostalgia with the older game, or they're going to have just be way into something newer. Like, it's a very tough question to answer. I don't know.
Can I expand on mine?
No.
So, Glenn Schofield's baby or versus Glenn Schofield's baby. I mean, which is so. I mean, they were literally both made by his teams. To Jesse's point, I think because Dead Space remake is a remake, I'll probably pick it up, but I inherently enjoy new content more than buying the same game multiple times. And I also think that the Callisto Protocol has shown that it's really leaning more into the thing, into horror like that, where it's really hitting that isolation and paranoia hard. So by default, I'm a little bit more excited about that. And I'm actually going through Dead Space 1 with Catherine right now. So I still love that game, but there is a heavy reliance on, like Amanda was saying earlier, jump scares. And it does a great job of setting the atmosphere. But from what I've seen in the Callisto Protocol, I think, especially on the sound design side, it probably might be, might have the leg up just from that aspect.
As someone who does not play horror games, really, the helmet looks cooler in Dead Space. So that is
Dead Space 1 horror game. Dead Space 2 scary action game. Dead Space 3 action game with some psychological stuff to it.
Yeah.
Dead Space 3, I like them all, but they're very different. Dead Space 1 is an all-time classic horror. Dead Space 2 is like one of the coolest action things I've ever watched. And playing through Dead Space 3 co-op is fantastic. It's okay single player, but especially if you do it twice and you see each side of it co-op because they're very different. It's really fun.
Third game end in a cliffhanger, story-wise?
It did, and then they put out a DLC that ended it.
Oh, they did kind of conclude their story?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not that
I own that DLC and still haven't played it.
Okay.
It's pretty crazy. It's a crazy DLC.
Okay.
I've seen what happens. I haven't played it yet. I need to do that.
Like, Dan, you're a big Dead Space fan too. Like, if this game does well, the remake does well, would you prefer them to jump into Dead Space 2 remake or just like a sequel where they do their own thing?
I don't know. That's a hard one because
you think it's going to be Final Fantasy remake-ish, and they do make a new series out of this, and they aren't just a strict retelling.
I don't know. I think I'm trying to remember the game that they recently did this with, where they released a remake. It did. Alan Wake. Jesus, they released a remake to test the excitement, and then obviously it did very well, and then they're like, okay, people are actually ready for us to announce Alan Wake 2. There have been plenty of examples where they've done that too.
Do you think they jumped to Dead Space 4 though?
I kind of hope so. I mean, the thing is, like, this obsession with remasters and remakes, I think, is wearing a little thin for me personally. I mean, I've bought a lot of them, so I know that for a while I was part of the problem. But I would much prefer to have new games. Now, if it's a collection of a bunch of titles and it was made by, and it's not taking away the primary devs to work on a new title, I'm okay with that. Like if Dead Space 2 was being made while they took the 4 or 5 years to make Dead Space whatever they decide to call it, then that's fine, I guess. Yeah. But I don't want a remake to exist in lieu of a proper sequel or continuation.
What if they waited a decade and then remade the remake?
Oh, cool. Like, yeah, like some other people. Yeah, no, I'm down with that.
That's it. That's all our question. That's all our topics. This was a very fun show.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice.
Amanda, thanks for joining us.
Mm-hmm. You are welcome anytime. I'll allow it.
Oh, that's not going over well.
No, she knows I don't mean it.
I'm used to
very
it.
strong.
I don't have any reactions anymore. I have beat you up before a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
She knows how to punch.
Yeah, not in the assault way. There's just having fun.
Well, thank you everyone who joined us. I thought this was a good, fun show. Hopefully we weren't too shilly, not trying to focus on the negativity all the time like so many Halo-focused creators
or putting a justification on our negativity.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're having a nice discussion about it.
Yeah.
People need some light right now.
We like playing games. Sue us.
Don't have me.
It's a rough world out there where people are real scared of what the future might end up being.
Yeah.
So it's nice to try get away from it for a little while. It doesn't mean it's not still happening.
Yeah.
So it's video games are fun. Stop dragging so much awful shit into them. There's already way too much awful shit out there to deal with.
Let's appreciate what we have.
Yep.
But yeah, if you guys like it, you can see that address down in the bottom left. That's been up for a while. That is if we're ever going to be able to become nice and big without having to go corporate, that'll be the way. If you guys can support us on the Patreon, we're going to start coming up with more stuff. John himself, the Sikamacanico, is looking to get into streaming again.
Nice.
And we might have some incentives in Patreon built around our streams moving forward. Have some fun stuff. But yeah, it's been great. Thank you, Dan and Aarsal and Amanda for joining me today on what we were afraid was going to be a light Halo news day, but ended up being one hell of a good one.
Yeah, straight up.
Indeed.
Do we want to give our socials? I normally, you can just find everything I do on XboxEra.
Yeah.
I'll be streaming.
Go.
I'll be streaming again this Tuesday. Hopefully with like a few others from this team. Maybe Abe might join me. But yeah.
And we are twitch.tv/the XboxEra. I need to push John to get just XboxEra from the guy who's never used it once.
God.
So I know it's annoying. Same thing happened on Twitter. But yeah, so twitch.tv/the XboxEra. I stream pretty much every day. I've done like freaking 15 hours or something this week because I kept doing things I was reviewing. So I was just on and playing and shit. It's super fun. We have a ton of content, and we will be back in 2 weeks to see you guys, and hopefully we'll have. We'll be back the week of friggin' co-op campaign. We'll be able to talk about that. Whee!
Oh yeah, actually. Wait, really?
Awesome. It's the week of the 11th, and we're not back.
You're
for 2
right.
weeks.
That's I think they said it was just opt in, right? Or did they say you're picked?
Yeah, if you were in for the multiplayer one, then it's the same thing.
Okay,
right?
awesome. Hell yeah. Okay.
But we've been here almost 2 hours with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
God.
You gotta go backwards. We've been on for an hour and 45 or so live.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and we will see you guys for a very fun show in 2 weeks.
Love you all. Donate and vote for progressives.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
He's not wrong.
Bye.
See ya.